was ready, the little hen seated herself in it and said to the cock, "Thou canst just harness thyself to it." When they had driven a part of the way, they met 2 foot passengers, a pin and a needle. What? I'm so confused. Why do these stories confuse me so much? They cried, "Stop, stop," and said that it would soon be as dark as pitch, and then they could not go a step further, and that it was so dirty on the road, and asked if they could not get into the carriage for a while. The cock woke the hen, brought the egg, pecked it open, and they ate it together. But they threw the shell on the hearth. Then they went to the needle. Wait a second. Are you ready to listen to a story with chicken cannibalism? I'm so confused. What? What is happening? Hello, everybody, and welcome back again to another Grimm's fairy tale. Today we're reading the story The Pack of Raggamuffins. So if you enjoy whisper fairy tales, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, please, and thank you. Alright, this is not a story that I've ever read before. This is, I suppose, one of the more original drawings. I think it might have been from the last story, though. Not from this one. Okay, anyway. The Pack of Raggamuffins. The cock once said to the hen, "It is now the time when our nuts are ripe, so let us go to the hill together, and for once eat our fill before the squirrel takes them all away." "Yes," replied the hen. "Come, we will have some pleasure together." Then they went away to the hill, and as it was a bright day, they stayed till evening. Now I do not know whether it was that they had eaten till they were too fat, or whether they had become proud, but they would not go home on foot, and the cock had to build a little carriage out of nutshells. When it was ready, the little hen seated herself in it and said to the cock, "Thou canst just harness thyself to it." "I like that," said the cock. "I would rather go home on foot than let myself be harnessed to it. That is not our bargain. I do not mind being coachman and sitting on the box, but drag it myself I will not." As they were thus disputing, a duck quacked to them, "You thieving folks who bade you go to my nut hill, well, you shall suffer for it," and ran with open beak at the cock. But the cock also was not idle, and fell boldly on the duck, and at last wounded her so with his spurs that she also begged for mercy, and willingly let herself be harnessed to the carriage as a punishment. The little cock now seated himself on the box, and was coachman, and thereupon they went off in a gallop, the cock crying, "Duck, go as fast as thou canst." When they had driven a part of the way, they met 2 foot passengers, a pin and a needle. What? I'm so confused. Why do these stories confuse me so much? They cried, "Stop, stop," and said that it would soon be as dark as pitch, and then they could not go a step further, and that it was so dirty on the road, and asked if they could not get into the carriage for a while. They had been at the tailor's public house by the gate, and had stayed too long over the beer. As they were thin people who did not take up much room, the cock let them both get in, but they had to promise him and his little hen not to step on their feet. As the duck also was not strong on her feet and fell from one side to the other, they went in. The host at first made many objections. His house was already full. Besides, he thought they could not be very distinguished persons. But at last, as they made pleasant speeches and told him that he should have the egg which the little hen has laid on the way, and should likewise keep the duck, which laid once every day, he at length said that they might stay the night. And now they had themselves well served, and feasted and rioted. Early in the morning, when day was breaking, and everyone was asleep, the cock woke the hen, brought the egg, pecked it open, and they ate it together. But they threw the shell on the hearth. Then they went to the needle. Wait a second. Are you ready to listen to a story with chicken cannibalism? I'm so confused. What? What is happening? It took a little while for that to sink into my head. Then they went to the needle, which was still asleep, took it by the head and stuck it into the cushion of the landlord's chair, and put the pin in his towel. And at last, without more ado, they flew away over the heath. The duck, who liked to sleep in the open air and had stayed in the yard, heard them going away, made herself merry, and found a stream, down which she swam, which was a much quicker way of traveling than being harnessed to a carriage. The host did not get out of bed for 2 hours after this. He washed himself and wanted to dry himself, when the pin went over his face and made a red streak from one ear to the other. After this, he went into the kitchen and wanted to light a pipe, but when he came to the hearth, the eggshell darted into his eyes. "This morning everything attacks my head," said he, and angrily sat down on his grandfather's chair. But he quickly started up again and cried, "Woe is me, for the needle had pricked him still worse than the pin, and not in the head." Now he was thoroughly angry, and suspected the guests who had come so late the night before, and when he went and looked about for them, they were gone. Then he made a vow to take no more ragamuffins into his house, for they consume much, pay for nothing, and play mischievous tricks into the bargain by way of gratitude. The end. Well, that's the end of the very short story, The Pack of Raggamuffins. I was thoroughly confused by it. Nevertheless, now you've heard it. You can say you've heard it. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because more fairy tales are on the way. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye. ASMR Sleep. Don't forget to like and subscribe.